Is the part on the board necessary? No, not really. But today we're gonna do kind of more of applying the jobs video. I had this idea. I was like, what if we go on some job sites and we like look at the job, we analyze it, we look at all the skills that it's requiring, and then I break down the skills and exactly how I would approach them. I think that'd be a pretty good video. All right, so I just picked Indeed here. I didn't really have a site in mind. Maybe we'll use different sites as I do more of these. But today we're going to start off with, I guess we'll just find a junior developer job. We'll look at the requirements, see what that actually means. If a junior dev requires 6 years React experience or something like that. And then we'll break down the requirements and see, what they're actually looking for, and then, if you should apply, or what the cover letter, should reflect. Oh, by the way, my resume and cover letter, there's a link for the description. I'm currently, you can buy my resume and cover letter. I have 3 different templates, and I have a resume. It's the one that got me the interview at Google. So if you're interested, you can buy them, and they're down there. They help support the channel, right? So obviously I give them away for free, but they seem to be valuable, and they help me support the channel. So if you're interested, the link's down there. But anyways, let's do this. Junior web developer. All right, so we got front end, junior. Okay, so this front end one comes up first. It's not too far. In moment. Let's see what they want. All right, so it looks like they've redone the Indeed. So what is this about? Global cloud-based. Work closely with UI UX. So mention that in your cover letter. Create working prototypes and applications. Yep, mention that. Ideal candidate, natural communicator. Ideal candidate, natural communicator. What that means is you should be able to communicate with people that aren't technically inclined, that don't know what you're talking about, like that they don't necessarily know dev, but you need to be able to tell the CEO, which maybe he doesn't know how to code, like what you're working on and when it will be done without confusing them. They just want results. So you should be a communicator in this field. Yes, coding is your job, but if you can't communicate what you're doing and when it's going to be done, and if you have any issues, that's a pretty big deal. Communication, work on that. Practice looking at people in the eyes when you communicate. Don't look away and down at your feet. That's not confidence. So when you go into the interview, look at them in the eye. You don't actually have to look at them in the eye. It's kind of weird when you do that. So look at them right here, between their eyes, or just pick one eye and look at that eye. To you, you know that you're looking at them in one eye, but to the other person, it looks like you're looking at them in the eyes. Maintain that confidence. Your ability to communicate just goes through the roof. Okay, what else do we got here? Job description. A web developer who's motivated to combine art of design. Well, this is front end, right? Responsibilities. Look at this. Develop building functioning prototypes based on UI UX design. So what that means is that they're gonna probably give you some PSD files or some sketch files, or they'll probably give you some Illustrator files, and it'll be your job to take that and figure out how to use those tools and break it down and convert that to HTML, and subsequently add the JavaScript, and then be able to make it work to do what they want. And then, since this is front end, you'll hand this job over to the back end person, and they'll connect it to if they have an internal API, and they'll hook that up, and then that will be like probably the majority of your job. I've had this job before too. Let's see. Ensure the technical feasibility of UI UX design. So this is a key point. What that means is that you might get something on paper, right, or digital, a design that looks good, but actually, this layout won't work because of this and that. There are some times where the designer, they are designers, and they use the product, and it's their job to improve that usage, but there might be some like gotcha scenarios where you open up something and then a modal pops up on top of that, so you have like a fly out and a modal, and that could be like confusing. Those are just different examples of like technical feasibility of a product that they might hand you, and it's your job to be like, actually this won't work. I think it might be better if we did XYZ, right? I think it might be better if we implemented Bootstrap for this, or we should use CSS Grid, or depending on what the sketch looks like. But that's what that means. Work with backend development to create new user-facing features. So that means, they'll probably give you the API endpoint, and it's your job to connect to those APIs. Because as a front-end developer, it doesn't mean that you're just doing design, HTML, and CSS, and like basic JavaScript. Like, you got to connect with that API. You might have to use React and figure out how to do that in React, or whatever they're using. We haven't got that far yet, but let's see. Reusable code. Obviously, they don't want spaghetti code, but if you're a junior, I don't know what they're expecting. You're probably going to get some spaghetti code. Sure that all input is validated and packaged. So this is just basic. This is their way of saying, please test your stuff before you send it to us or give it to the back end people. Collaborate with other team members and stakeholders. This reads like a project from school or something. Stakeholders. Ability to take them. Yep. So Sketch, Zeppelin, Principal, Atomic. Okay, so Zeppelin is a pretty neat thing. If you have a project and it's in Sketch, you can convert it to Zeppelin, and Zeppelin will try and take that Sketch and convert it to, well, it won't convert to HTML for you, but it will convert all of the elements and their size and their boxes and their fonts and their colors and their backgrounds and their box shadows, all those front end things. It'll convert it on the side, and you can see what it is rather than trying to use the tools inside Photoshop to do that. It's pretty neat. Oh, I think that if you actually do check out Zeppelin, by the way, you should mention that in your cover letter. I think that would make a good point. Like, experience with Zeppelin. Like, do you actually have to use it in professional capacity? No, but for you to say that you have experience with it, if you go in there, mess with it, export something from Sketch to Zeppelin, and be like, look, I did this, even if it's simple, that might boost your your resume and cover to the top of the stack. Proficient understanding of markup, HTML, CSS, basic understanding of server-side preprocessing, so less in Sass, right? So you got to know those preprocessors. It'd be good if you probably knew the mix-ins that go along with that. That's maybe understanding how the mapping files work, and then compile down to a CSS file, and how you have to link all these things and import them and export them. So look into that. Proficient understanding of client-side scripting. CoffeeScript, JavaScript frameworks, including jQuery. So a lot of people give a lot of crap on jQuery, but you can see it's still used here. A lot of companies still use it. Yeah, it's old, but it's convenient and it's simple to use. If you want to do an animation, jQuery's probably got your back. If you want to do an animation in React, you can do it in React, but you have to learn how to use React first, whereas jQuery is like, all right, $, pick the item that you want with an ID or a class, dot whatever you want to do, and then React is like, all right, well, let me set up React first. So like a lot of people skip that if they're not using React, and they just use jQuery. So CoffeeScript is like a special simplified version of writing JavaScript. Like, you write the CoffeeScript and it will compile down to vanilla JavaScript, but it's just like a way to shortcut stuff when you're writing. So like, for example, like functions look different, the way you do variables looks different. It's just like a cleaner version of JavaScript with like less stuff, but it's more sensitive to like indentations, and the syntax is just different. It's supposed to be simpler and help you code faster, kind of like Sass, or I guess like Pug or Haml in HTML. It's supposed to speed things up. So good understanding of asynchronous request handling. So right, API stuff, right? AJAX. You need to be able to fetch some data, push some data. The basic CRUD: create, read, update, delete type deal here. That's what they're saying. So maybe you could talk about if you've used an application that has had API requests, which I'm sure all basic front-end stuff has an API request at some point in a project. We'll talk about that. Proficient understanding of cross-browser compatibility issues and ways to work around them. So you might want to look into polyfills for this. You might want to look into what WebKits are doing. So WebKits is in CSS, and that helps with backwards compatibility. Doesn't say anything about the stack that they're doing. It looks like vanilla JavaScript. There's nothing about salary. This seems like a pretty basic front end junior web developer job. Like, there's not a lot of frameworks, there's just not a lot going on, right? So this is a good starting place to learn. However, this job has probably been applied to by like 400 people in the last hour. So when you type junior, you're going to get stuff tagged with junior in it, and just be aware. So if you want to get to the top of the stack, you got to do things, you got to think outside that box, read into this. So what I would do now is go to InMoment, TM, whatever, and then look up the tab here and see what they're about. Let's just do it. InMoment about. So what should you know about it? This is what we do. So you could read this and talk about this on their cover letter. Be like, I was doing some research, right? Shows you putting in your time, putting in your dues. Core values. Ooh, this is what I always talk about in every single video. Always talk about core values in your cover letter. I have a cover letter specifically for that. You can see it in the description, but like, always talk about how you match their core values, how you support their core values, how you want to be like improve, make sure everyone abides by them because that you're a believer in them. And that if someone has core values, if a company has core values, they're there for a purpose, because that's probably a huge part of their culture. And if you want to get that foot in. Talk about how you align with that. It's huge. I mean, a lot of people skip over that, but just make sure when you're looking at core values at companies that you talk about how you can relate to them, or you believe in them, or you want to be a part of it. Like innovative, human, bold. You do things differently. You're invested in the product. You care about what they're doing. Simple and elegant, right? So you want minimalistic designs. Executive team. They're hiring, right? So what I would go through is come down here to these bottom links, right? Oh, they have a contact. Maybe you could email them and just get some more information on the product and not let them know that you're applying to the job. You got to think outside the box, right? This is a front-end position. This is like theoretically the most applied to position, especially in today's age, when front-end is like what everyone starts with, and that's the job because it's the most simple. So you got to think outside that box. Definitely think outside that box. I know a lot of you guys out there like, well, is cover letter important? I mean, it is important. Go watch the other video that I have with my boss, and she's like, that's what actually like set you apart from the other candidates, because you put effort. You're like, hi, this is what I've done. Here's my portfolio. You need to have that too, but like, what sets you apart? Anyone can write that. Like, what's your experience? Are you human? Tell your human story. You can see that they're interested, and seeing if you're human, because that's part of their core values. I mean, these people up here, this is executive team. Most likely, if I click on it, it takes me to here, which doesn't take me actually anywhere. So that's one thing that we could talk about right there. Hey, I noticed when I clicked on your executive team members, it opened a new tab, but it didn't actually take me anywhere. It didn't. You can see the member in the URL bar there, but it didn't actually take you to this guy. Like, I'm trying to read this guy's bio. Oh, okay. So what happens here is this is a full page modal. So if you open it in a new tab, then if you open this in a new tab, you're going to get this. And so I think that this is what you could do right here. You could apply to this and talk about like, hey, I was doing some UX testing on the front page, and I noticed that if I opened your bio in a new tab, which people might do because they don't want to leave the site, it doesn't actually open. Until I clicked on it and realized it opened a modal, then it made sense that I was supposed to, that's how I would read the bio. So there's one tip, right? In before this company gets like 500 resumes talking about how that doesn't work. Yeah, I mean, so this is a pretty cool job. We're just diving deep into what this means. Prototyping tools such as Framer, Wrapper, UI. So I actually don't have experience with that, and this is the part where you could be honest with them. Be like, I haven't used that before, but after doing some research from reading this job posting, I'm actually really excited about it, and I think it'd be really cool to get my hands on it in a professional capacity, professional environment, something like that. I mean, that's it, right? So that's how I would analyze this job and go about applying to it. Maybe we could do another one. If you guys like this series, we'll look at more jobs and we'll break them down and talk about what they want, what they need, and how I would apply to it and how I would approach it, to get that resume to the top of the stack. Again, if you want mine, the ones that got me interviews at Google, they're in the description, and they help support the channel. And so that's the main reason that I'm talking about them, is that they help support the channel, and I really appreciate everything you guys do. Talking about that, I'd like to say thank you to the patrons that we have. We got Vlaslo, the Martin Fee, Aubrey, DJ Richie. We got David, Craig, Armand. I appreciate all you guys. If you're interested in supporting someone's cause, maybe help me out the next time you donate to someone. If you don't, it's no big deal. I still appreciate each and all of you viewers. And we have a Discord if you want to engage with me, ask me some more questions. Hit me with that resume review. We do those on Saturdays. And hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate that. I'm currently working on my website so I can make more formalized written content so I can better express these thoughts on video. I'm a little awkward on video, as you guys might know, but I'm working on it. And yeah, so check out my website, grindreel.com. Currently filling it out. We're going to talk about the best resources code, the pros and cons, applications. I'm getting there, but I'd like to get some traffic going, hit some opinions on what I need to improve, what's bad, what's good. Just tear it apart. That's how else do you get that opinion. So go check out the website. I'd appreciate that. And, if you want to see more videos like this, you like this series, hit that little subscribe button. I would appreciate that. And, you guys have a nice day. Keep hacking. If you're procrastinating your shit, go get your shit done.